We're actually starting the readings for the beginning of June. Actually, for the whole of June. We're starting with the 1st of June, which is going to be tomorrow. Well, depending what part of the world you're in, I guess half the world is already in tomorrow, quote unquote. The digital version of the Science of Mind magazine did not arrive as yet. It's not in my system. Is it my system's fault or the magazine's? I don't know, but it really doesn't matter. I'm going to read from the real quote unquote version. And interestingly enough, this month's writings, or readings in our case, are by someone who was in one of our soul sessions, actually not the last soul session, but two soul sessions ago. Every other month we have a soul session, which is we interview someone who's got experience in usually in some kind of minority way. It could be African American, it could be Native American, it could be gender related, it could be military related, which it has been in the past. All depends. Anyway, back earlier this year, our writer for this month was the guest of our soul session. So what I've done is I've put down the link to our Facebook page for that soul session. And I recommend that you copy and paste that link. I don't think it's clickable, but you can definitely copy the link, paste it into your browser. It will take you to our Facebook page for that soul session. It should do. If it doesn't, text me, let me know. But it is on there. Save you searching for it because it's like 4 months ago, something like that, 3-4 months ago. It's quite a while since. Well, enough of that, enough of me. Where are we? I was going to read you from the May edition, Murphy's Dogma. However, because it's the start of the month, it's always longer because there's an introduction about the writer, and I'm going to do that tomorrow, if that's okay with everybody. And really and truly, whether you say yes or no, that's what I'm going to do. There's a really colorful, I don't know if it doesn't really matter if it's up back to front or not, but you can kind of see extremely colorful introduction to the guides. And the first quote is from Octavia E. Butler, and she says, "All that you touch, you change. All that you change changes you. The only lasting truth is change. God is change." And as you know, that's contrary to some of the things you may have heard, that God is changeless. Well, if God is behind evolution, evolution by its definition is change, then some of the aspects of the divine, if you like, I know some of you don't like the word God, so I'll substitute the divine. Then if evolution is an expression of the divine, then by definition, the divine is changing. It's changeless in the sense that it always is. It's infinite. It's eternal. But it's not in the sense that everything evolves. And if the divine is in expression as evolution, then the divine is changing. It's evolving. The artwork, by the way, was from artwork by Leitz Design, L-I-E-Z, Leitz Design. That was this artwork. I think it's cute, don't you? I think it's really, really kind of cute. Kind of hard to see on here, but there you are. So who is this mystery writer this month? Well, his name is Reverend Dr. Raymont Anderson, and his reputation has built up in numerous ways, but also as a movie and a comic book nerd, and apparently that's widely known. I didn't know until his appearance on our soul session and our discussions with him. You know, the soul sessions, a group of us have a discussion before and a discussion afterwards, and then Reverend Lissy usually brings it on, and then Reverend Jesse, who's our senior minister, usually has this two-way conversation with whoever happens to be the guest for the soul session at that time. He's passionate about the metaphysical exploration of these modern day myths in comic books and movies, that is, and the power inherent in the vast narratives that they create. I wonder if he's read Discworld. At least I was promoting Discworld. It's really it's a good science fantasy book that's got some real messages for the modern world. He's known for his sense of humor, his unique approach, application of spiritual practices, and the ability to take complex metaphysical spiritual concepts and make them not only understandable, but more readily applicable to daily living. Isn't that what we all want? I think that's what Reverend Jesse and I are supposed to do. Also, as founding minister of the Center for Spiritual Integrated Arts, he's excited and inspired to manifest the beloved community and to make New Thought and CSL household names in a world that effectively works for and powerfully heals all. This is what he has to say himself about this month's readings. He says, boldness comes from within, a space of empowerment, inspiration, and passion. Holy boldness turbocharges this space so we're poised and ready to launch into action with a deep pervading knowing and assurance. Boldness opens wide the door for cooperating, co-creating, and manifesting infinite possibilities with greater courage, faith, and trust. This month, we explore the power of holy boldness so that we can consciously use, nurture, and activate such boldness as a spiritual tool to support our grand rising. Well, what does that mean? Here we go. Robert Frost, that's the first quote. You've all heard of Robert Frost, correct? Freedom lies in being bold. Ernest Holmes. Anything that is legitimate and in accordance with spirit can succeed. And one should boldly announce the principles of success to be inherent in everything that is constructive. And that's the power of an idea on page 54, paragraph 2. So in other words, always doable, always possible, always good, providing that it supports our individual selves and the world at large. Raymond Anderson says, it's time to accurately use and embody the world and the energy of being holy. No longer should the world be used to separate and segregate. The duality of what is holy and what is secular or mundane has not served humanity well. The profane and the sacred are all part of human life. And he's saying that we shouldn't be separating these out. As a theology of liberation, science of mind defines holy as wholeness. When we say we are whole, perfect, and complete, this is what we're saying. We are saying we are holy. In other words, we are recognizing and stating with boldness the truth of our being. We also do this through the realization that we are individualized expressions of the divine, as the divine incarnating in, through, and as each of us. Refrain from commenting until I've finished. This declaration of truth then calls us into an holistic practice, living where anything that is not demonstrating this wholeness, whether in our individualized lives or in the collective society, is an invitation for us to engage our spiritual practices in a life-affirming and holistic manner. As Holmes said in the above quote, this is constructive. And what then are the spiritual practices? Good question, right? Everything that gives us the ability to operate creatively in the world, regulates our emotions, to relate and reason with one another, and to live, move, and have our being as divinely magnificent expressions of love in all the ways that create an equitable and just world that works for all. And if you want to summarize it slightly differently, you could actually say, oh, I think I need to move this for Barbara. You could actually say that anything that is for individual good and for the group good. In other words, anything that we do that supports our own individual good and the good of all is good. But he's saying here that we should do it with boldness. We shouldn't be timid about it. We should move forward. You know, people are always asking what our spiritual practice is. And we usually go in and say, well, it's listening to stuff like this, it's reading stuff like this, it's taking some time out during the day to have some quiet time, to meditate or to be mindful as you go about your work. And Reverend Raymont here is adding to that. He's saying that anything is holy that supports our own good and the common good. So if you're doing something that's positive, in other words, moving life forward, then that's holy. So what do you think? What was your opinion before? What was your understanding of the word holy? I mean, most people think it's a saint, whether it's a Christian saint, a Muslim saint, a Hindu saint, or any other religious saint. Well, they're holy. You see them with these halos around their heads, right? Well, Raymont's saying no, it's anything that works for the good of our individual and collective selves. That is holy. So it's a slightly different way of looking at it. And what is holy? What is wholeness and holy? They're the same thing. I think it's just bringing down to earth what has often been held up in the sky. Because when I was a kid, I was told that, oh, these saints and these people here, they're holy. And the rest of us were sinners and we should move towards emulating them. Well, yeah, emulating them is good when it's constructive. But a lot of these people did things which were out of the ordinary, which really didn't serve anybody's good in the long run. But it was considered to be the good of the church, quote unquote. So it's a different way of looking at holy. So if you look at holy as whole, then it puts a different light on it. And if you look at the sacred and the profane as being together when they're constructive is good, well, that's another way of looking at it. Did this confuse you? Did it help you? If you remember only one thing, and that's the fact that when we're doing things which are constructive, which are positive, which move life forward for ourselves and for others, then that is holiness. And you don't have to be reading a Bible or some other sacred text and meditating all the time to be considered holy. It's just moving life forward, evolving, as it were. That's whole. You are being whole. You are being a whole human being. How about that? Of course, I completely put away the affirmation. It's a little bit long, but I live, move, and have my being as a holy, individualized incarnation of spirit, and that's I live, move, and have my being as a holy, WHOLLY, holy, HOLY, individualized incarnation of spirit. I am an incarnation of spirit, and I express this in my life. You can change it to that. Tomorrow, I will do Murphy's Dogma. If the Science of Mind digital version still has not arrived, guess what? I will simply read from this. And the actual title, I'm never sure whether this is coming out. I'm going to look at my own recordings and say, does this come out the right way around or not? If he doesn't, it says Holy Boldness in the front, and that's the cover for June. So, yep, we're a bit early because we have errands to run and I've got to prepare things. So until next time, please give us a like. We really appreciate it. And seriously, if you have comments that you would like to see some things done differently, or you would like to see other things, or you think we could improve these in any way whatsoever, let us know. Please let us know. We really want to make this worthwhile for everybody. And by listening and watching and commenting, you're actually being a part of this. Oh, and also remember to watch that Raymont Anderson soul session. You'll find it's worthwhile. Plus, what it will do is it will give you a greater connection to the person who's doing this month's readings. Even if you only watch parts of it, it will give you some insight into the person who's actually doing the writings this month. Not that I'm doing the readings, he's doing the writing. Isn't that cool? Because oftentimes all you know and all I know is what we've read in the magazine. But when you actually see the person in action, it gives you a different take. It gives you a different insight into what's going on. And then, most important of all, please take care of yourselves. Do that first, and then you can look after others. But please take care of yourselves. Until next time, namaste.